Real estate is both art and science. It's the art of connecting with people. If I talk to X amount of people, I can expect on average to make Y amount of sales, and my average sales price is Z, and you can take X, Y, and Z and then be able to have some consistency in your life versus constantly riding the wave.
Hello, agentpreneurs, and welcome back to the Daily List Report. We've got an exciting show today. We'll call it All in the Family. Jonathan Spears, who's been on the show numerous times, a really great guest. His younger brother, who works with him at the Spears Group, is going to be on the show today, and he's going to talk about his approach and how he grew his business from 11.8 million in production in 2019 to 34.5 million in 2020. That's pretty remarkable. And he uses an approach that we don't often talk a lot about on this show, which is what I'm really excited about, which is we're going to talk about KPIs, we're going to talk about data tracking, we're talking about spreadsheets. And don't tune out, right? This is really actually easy stuff. And this is the stuff that he used to triple his business in a year, and he's going to share that information. While we're here, a couple things to pull up. One is, if you want to check out Caleb on Instagram, it's Caleb_Spears Group. That link is below. And if you want to check out the Spears Group, go ahead and go to spearsgroupfl.com. Again, that link is below as well, and you can learn all about this amazing group of people. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Caleb on. Caleb, welcome to the show.
Randy, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excited about today's topic, right? I nerd out a little bit about the numbers, and so today is going to be a great day for us to chat. But before we get into those things, Caleb, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself? Tell all of our agents out there who Caleb is.
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of your listeners will probably know my older brother, Jonathan Spears, who has been a $100 million producer for the last 5 years. Him and I run the top team in our area and one of the top teams in the state of Florida. We just did 266 million in production in the last year, so that was incredible. And we've already got 100 million pending and sold to start this year, so it's looking to hopefully be a banner year.
Incredible.
But for me, my background, Jonathan and I grew up as the son of a custom home builder and general contractor. So we moved, I think I counted one time, and I've lived in 17 houses across the coast here. So just immense amount of knowledge being gained just through that process alone. It's so funny to walk through houses and I'm like, oh yeah, this was built in 2007. And they're like, how can you tell? And I'm like, that paint color was only popular in 2007. I know because I lived in it. And so I grew up with that kind of background. And when I first got into the working world, my first real job was a cashier and a cook at Chick-fil-A. And that was an incredible learning experience. I'm so grateful to have worked there because I got to work with people from all different backgrounds and ages, and it was amazing cultures and languages. I got pretty good at Spanish because a lot of our employees spoke Spanish, and I loved languages, so I'd practice with them all the time. And just getting that leadership experience and the ability to connect with people from all different backgrounds, and also just the work ethic they teach you at Chick-fil-A and the focus on the customer and the client and the service level, it was all phenomenal. So I was working there. I was a team leader, so I had maybe 5 or 6 people that I was in charge of, and we went on a family vacation, and Jonathan, out of the blue, just looked at me and he says, hey, I think you'd be good at real estate. You should get your license and join my team. I said, well, hey, if you're serious, I will. And so I quit my job. I got my license at 18. I started with Sotheby's just after my 19th birthday, and this summer will be 5 years with the company. So that's kind of my life story in a nutshell.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Caleb. Thank you for sharing that. And I mean, congrats to you and your brother and the rest of the team. You guys have been absolutely crushing it, as you said, and that's some pretty big accomplishments and some amazing properties, by the way. So, Caleb, I want to start here, okay? So I set this up, right, and I said we're going to be talking about KPIs, which are key performance indicators. We're going to be talking about a data-driven approach. And some people just threw up in their mouth a little bit, right, hearing that. And so, my question for you is, have you always been a very data driven person? In other words, what I want people to understand is there's some people who are just numbers people and some people who aren't. And I will tell you right now, spoiler alert, even if you're not a numbers person, these are pretty simple numbers. We're talking about conversions and funnels and pretty basic stuff, right? Making sure you do the activities. But Caleb, for you, was this always something that you just did? Were you just a spreadsheet nerd?
Absolutely not. I am like the opposite. I'm definitely a bit of a nerd, but not a spreadsheet nerd. I always thrived in like language arts and history and geography and all that stuff. That was how my brain was geared. I scored a 36 out of 36 on my essay in the ACT, and I
Wow.
scored a 21 out of 36 in math.
Did you say
So
21 out of 36?
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
big drop
wow.
off in my math knowledge. So math was not my strong suit. It's not how I'm wired. So all you people that just threw up in your mouth about spreadsheets, I am one of you. I understand you, and do not tune out because this is not hard stuff, and it will absolutely change your business and change your life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And again, as we discussed kind of prepping for this show, Caleb, this is something that we do inside of list reports every day, right? We are looking at numbers, we're looking at KPIs because if you don't, man, it's really hard to run a business. It's really hard to know what growth is and where it came from and what activities are working versus ones that aren't. So, why don't we kick it off here, Caleb? And why don't you talk about, KPIs in particular, what they are and how you use them in your business?
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, KPI, key performance indicator, right? So these are the significant metrics, the two, three, four metrics that are going to be most important in your business to maximizing your growth and also creating consistency, right? As real estate agents, I'm sure you guys have seen it or experienced it. It's like, oh man, I don't have anything in the pipeline. Oh, I'm making sales. I'm making sales. This is great. I'm doing good. Oh, and then I kind of forgot to prospect because I was so busy closing those deals. And you ride the wave a little bit. It's a little bit inconsistent, right? That's how most real estate agents spend their career is highs and lows and riding the wave a little bit. And what KPIs will do for you and what being data driven will do for you is create a measure of consistency so that you take that wave from being tsunamis to just being these little predictable bounces that you can kind of control and manipulate. Real estate is both art and science. It's the art of connecting with people, of being a great servant and knowledgeable about the market and speaking eloquently and intelligently on the market. But it's also the science of if I talk to X amount of people, I can expect on average to make Y amount of sales, and my average sales price is Z, and you can take X, Y, and Z and predict your business out into the future and then be able to have some consistency in your life versus constantly riding the wave.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So, are we talking just about, dials and meetings? Like, talk a little bit more about, how somebody would get started or maybe go into more detail on your exact approach here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I can do is pop on over to my spreadsheet here that I keep. It's called my Blueprint Tracker. This is my actual numbers from 2020. So you can see when I started, the place that I would start, if you've never done this before, or even if you have, the place to start is with your goals. Okay. So you can see right here on this top left-hand corner, I've got my need, my want, and my dream. I've got the sides I need to do and the volume that would produce. So at these numbers, what this means, and this is important because you need to really fairly assess your lifestyle and what you need and what you want, and what you dream of here. Your need is literally just the basics. How can I keep the roof over my head? How much do I need to sell to not be in the red in my finances and in my personal life? It's not, well, I want to take that trip to Cabo next year, assuming, we're still able to travel. And,
Right.
well, I really wanted a new car and that's going to cost, that's not need. Okay. You don't need the trip. You don't need the new car. Need is just your basics. So find out what your need is, sit down one night at the dinner table, pull out all your bills and your expenses and add them up and see what you actually need to survive. Because if you're below this line, we need to help. Okay, we need to make a serious intervention here. We can't have people living um, below their need. Now, once we've covered our need, we're going to move up to our wants. That's where you put in the trip to Cabo and the new car and all of those things. So that's your need plus all those things you want. Um, so for me, it was 8 million just to cover my bills. My want was 25 million. And then your dream is like, man, if this year just went incredibly, if this year was perfect, and the dream number should scare you a little bit. It should be like, man, if this year just went amazingly, this would be my dream number. Well, for me going into 2020, I had sold $11.8 million in 2019. I was honestly a little bit frustrated by that. I can get into why. It was not a lot of growth. 2018, I did 10 million. 2019, I did 11.8. I was very frustrated by that growth, and that I lacked a significant amount of growth there. And this is when I made these changes, implemented this data tracking. And you can see my dream goal was 30 million. Oh my gosh, if 2020 is just perfect, I'll go from 11.8 to 30. Well, you can see I went to nearly 35.
Yeah.
So I broke the scale of what I thought was possible just by using this data driven approach. And that's something I really want to highlight for all you non data people that may not be doing this right now. So once you have your goals, there's a couple of things you want to track, and I use my sales goal worksheet. And you don't have to have this complicated spreadsheet. You can do this on pen and paper very simply. There's a couple things you need to know. How much money do you want to make? So for me, I want to make $500,000. You need to know your average sales price, okay? And the way you do that, if you don't know, you take all of your sales volume from the previous year, you divide it by the number of sales you had. That's your average sales price, okay? That is an important number to know, or else we're just guessing. All right, so you want to get your average sales price. You want to know how much money you want to make. You want to know what your average commission is, okay? And then the other thing that's really, really, really important is how many people do I need to talk to make a sale? And so for me, I game planned off 82 contacts for each sale. And that's a good number. It's a nice round number that you can take and use if you don't know yet. But if you've been tracking your data long enough, you should be able to kind of have your own accurate assessment of that. It's going to be a little different for every agent, for every market. So once you have one full year of tracking under your belt, or even a full quarter, you can look back and kind of make this a personalized number for yourself. So you want to know your contacts, you want to know your average commission, you want to know your average sales price, and you want to know how much money you want to make. Start there, and we can kind of work our way backwards. And Randy, I just want to check back in with you. Is there anything that I haven't explained, or any questions you may have at the moment?
No. A couple observations. One is the way that you set up your tracker. I really like it. It's a combination of data and sort of natural language, right? So I noticed that, and I'm assuming that was intentional, right? You have in there things like, who you're going to serve, right? Like that's an intentional work, how you'll do it. And I like this. I want to work, X hours per week. I intend to spend, right? That's about being intentional. It's really interesting, actually, just sort of how this was structured. And what I like about that is data is data, right? But there's also this sort of qualitative aspect of data, which sounds counterintuitive, right? But it speaks to, I think, as you spoke about, right, sort of your needs, your wants, and your desires or your dreams. And so I like that this is a balance. So how did that take shape? Just real quick, I'm curious about that.
I wish I could take credit for the genius behind this spreadsheet, and this will just lend some credence to it for anyone that may
Yeah.
be well beyond where I'm at in my business and think, well, how's this punk kid telling me what to do? Here's where it came from. It came from Wes Madden, who is incredible. He's our chief operations officer here at our branch of Sotheby's. Before he came to us, he took his brokerage in Alaska. From the day he founded it, it took him about 6 years to become the largest and most successful brokerage in the entire state.
Wow.
He to this day, his name is synonymous with Alaskan real estate, to the point that when Congress needed to talk about the effects that one of their proposals would have on the Alaskan real estate market, you can look this up. Wes Madden testified in Congress to the effects. So he
Wow, that's
became
amazing.
yeah, oh, it's incredible. He's an incredible individual. He was in the special forces before that. He's an incredible husband. He's an incredible father. He's an incredible leader. I look up to Wes immensely. I think he's awesome. This is his system that he brought to me. And, I came to him after that year of stagnation, essentially, and said, how do I change this? And he said, well, tell me what your KPIs are. Tell me about your business plan and your business tracking. And I had zero answer for him, to be honest. I was like what I imagine most agents are like, where it's just, hey, I've got a client. I'm going to go find them a house. I'm going to go help sell their house. And I'm just kind of going one to the next, one to the next, one to the next. No real plan, just making sales and trying to stop my hair from being on fire. And he said, that's the wrong way to do it. And he actually was the one that helped me build out this spreadsheet, build out this language of I want to work and what are my dreams and goals. And that's really the place you got to start is why are you in this business? The why may be because you want flexible hours and time to spend with your family, but still want to keep the bills paid. In that case, your sales goals may be very different from someone that may be in this business to make a couple $1,000,000 because that's what their dreams dictate for their life. And so that's what you've got to kind of start with as an agent is why am I in real estate? What do I want for my family? What are my goals in life? And how can real estate be the vehicle that can get me there? It's one of the rare few businesses where our income has no ceiling,
Yes, right.
right?
It's
And
what's
it's one of
so
the rare,
amazing about it. Yes, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's one of the rare few businesses that the opposite of that is true in a way where it's like you can make a lot of money and not have to work crazy hours to do it. You can actually be really really dialed in. You can be a scalpel instead of a hammer, and really if you have your key performance indicators dialed in, you can work a lot less hours and make more money. And this is such a rare opportunity to be in this business and to be able to do that in life. So I'm very passionate about this subject because of the not only the financial gain that it gave me, but the freedom it gave me and the freedom it can give other people too.
Well said, Caleb. Really well said. A couple things stand out to me in that. One is, Wes Madden, your COO, right? Like, this speaks to being a part of a quality team that hires quality people, right? I mean, look, it tripled your business, right? Now you did the work, right? But you had a resource to help you understand how to get there. I think that's amazing. The other thing, I just call this out time and time again, Caleb, when agents like yourself come on the show, is just how giving they are and you are, right, of your not only your time but your information, your practices, your playbook, right. I find that agents are incredibly giving, top agents in particular, in terms of back to this industry, which has given all of us in various ways a great life, frankly, right. And so I think we owe that to everyone. So kudos to you for doing that, and I appreciate that transparency, Caleb.
Thank you very much. I'm really grateful for that. And
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say that really a lot of this may not be making a ton of sense to people that have never done it before. So what I'd love to show you guys is this is my favorite tab on the whole sheet because this is really where the magic happens. This is my prospecting tracker, and you can do this on a piece of paper. You don't have to have a fancy spreadsheet, okay? But what you need to know is how many people do I have to talk to make a sale, right? And you can use that 82 number that I used if you'd like. I found that through my own data, but if you have your own data, that's even better. You can dial it in even tighter. But if you have nowhere to begin, just start with 82. Um, and then how many sales do I need to make to meet my need goal at my average sales price? To meet my want goal at my average sales price, right? So then you can take the number of contacts you need to make a single sale, multiply it by how many sales you need to make, and boom, you've got how many people do I need to talk to this year to meet my goals. And from there, it's just a simple act of making a plan, right? So for me, I found that I needed to talk to 75 people a week to hit my goals. And you can see I ended up actually talking to just over 81. And that's probably a big reason why instead of doing the $30 million dream number, I did 34 and a half was because I actually exceeded this KPI here. You can see my listing appointments. I exceeded my buyer's appointments. I actually did not do enough, but it was made up for in this huge boost in listings because 2020 was a great year for listings for me.
Indeed,
Um,
yeah.
but here's what you need to track. You need to figure out how many contacts you have to make per week to make the number of sales you want for your life and for your goals in life. Then from there, it's a simple matter of tracking them. And you're going to see that there are weeks that are awful and there are weeks that are really good. And the key is the average. Okay. If you do, let's say your goal is 75, right? And you do 50, That doesn't mean you do 75 the next week. It means you make up the other 25 you missed, right? So you do 100, and the average of those 2 weeks becomes 75. That's the key. You'll see here, I have weeks where like the first week was 37. That's awful. This dip right here at the bottom of my chart, that was the height of coronavirus in our market where there was hardly anyone to talk to. I mean,
Right.
there was not a lot of people that wanted to buy and sell real estate right here in this dip. And frankly, I was much more concerned with the safety of my family and the safety of people that I loved and knew than to be worrying about calls. And I had to make that up. And you can see I did. Um, so you can see there's weeks here where it's 37 or 77 or 60, and then there's other weeks where it's 120 and it's 88 and it's 108 and it's 113, 84, 165. So there's times I'm exceeding the goal and I'm in a great rhythm, and then there's other times where it might drop back down to a 68, and when I really needed to do 75. Okay, so this is not about being perfect. This is not about being a machine. It's about the law of averages, and it's about keeping it within the realm that it needs to be over the course of the year. Okay, and that's really where all of this starts.
You know, Caleb, I'm so glad we're doing this, right? And I really hope that everybody watching right now and listening is paying close attention. So you said a few things there that are so true, right? One is it's about the averages, right? You can have a bad week, you can have a great week, and that may be influenced by circumstances outside of our control. Like you showed the coronavirus, the dip there when it first started, nobody was talking. Or maybe you were sick for a week, and that's okay because we're in this for the long game. The second thing, though, is it's remarkable, and you know this, you're showing this. It's remarkable once you get sort of a baseline of data how accurate it really is, right? So people watching right now are like, these are people, these are humans, they have different emotions, right? There's no average, there's no laws that exist here, but there is, right? Like you said, you know, if statistically, if you make X calls, you're going to get X connects and you're going to get X appointments, and there's good weeks and bad weeks, but if you average it out, it's remarkably consistent. But I think the other thing, and I'm curious to get you to react to this, Caleb, that tracking like this does is it gives you actually, I think, some confidence. But what I mean by that is I look at this list and I'm like, 113 contacts made, 2 listing appointments, 7 buyer appointments. Actually, that's pretty darn good. Great job, Caleb. But you look at the weeks where, these are contacts, right? So you're actually probably making potentially a lot more dials. And so you're sitting there day after day and you're just banging on the phones and you're like your 80th call and like you got voicemails all day long, right? It gives you confidence, I think, that this works when you look at this tracking. It helps you maybe power through. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And the other thing it does too is when you go home at night to spend time with your family and you put your head on the pillow and you're going to bed, it's a lot less anxiety
Great
because
point.
you know that there's a plan and that there's a system in place that will produce results. And that even if today was a bad day, I can make it up tomorrow. I can make it up over the course of this week. Let's say this week that I had 7 buyers appointments. Maybe that's a week where instead of that says 113, it says 37, right? Because I had all these appointments and I just wasn't in the office enough to make my contacts that I wanted to make. It's okay. I know that next week I can make that up. I know there's a plan, and it just gives you this sense of peace and, like you said, confidence in your business, in yourself, and in the direction that you're headed so that you're not constantly riding that wave that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Caleb, gosh, this is really good information. This I think segues nicely into maybe our last topic for today, though not our last conversation, I'm sure, which is you said something really important there, right? And you said, something like this gives you the confidence to go home at night, right? And spend time with your family and not be afraid, right? Not sit there and say, gosh, I didn't do the activities or I had this, right? I had that. And so I want you to talk a little bit about, at least for you personally, how do you draw the line between, your work and your family? How do you manage your crazy schedule? Because look, I'll be honest with you, there are many schools of thought here, right, Caleb? And I'm sure you know this. There are some agents who are just 24/7, doesn't matter, dinner table, 2 a.m., they are just online doing their thing, right? And a lot of other agents, top agents as well, are like, you know what? I stop work at this time and that's my family time. Talk about how you deal with that struggle or that balance.
Well, it's like I said about the contacting and the prospects. My schedule and my success at drawing that line probably looks a lot like the contacts chart, where it's some days I'm an A plus husband, and I'm home and I'm off my phone and I'm spending time with my wife. I'm giving her the care and time and attention that she needs. And then there's other weeks where I'm like a C minus or a D plus husband, where I'm
Yeah.
I'm sending emails until late at night, and I'm not engaged in our conversation because I'm worried about the deal I'm negotiating. And, those things happen. But for me, my philosophy is it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank account if you don't have your family and you don't have your loved ones. Because, I mean, number one, who are you going to spend all that money with? Are you really
Yeah.
going to enjoy the time you spend? And that's for me. That's me personally. Maybe you out there, random agent John Smith, you're like, I love money and being on a yacht is what makes me the happiest thing in the world, and it needs to be covered in gold. All right, cool. Work 24 hours a day. That's fine. That's your life. You got to live it. I think this answer is really a personal one in a way. For me, it doesn't matter how much money I have. If my marriage is bad, or I just found out I'm going to be a dad, which is incredibly exciting. So if I'm not spending enough time with that future child who's going,
Congratulations. That's amazing.
thank
Yes,
you,
congratulations.
thank you. And so if I'm not spending enough time with my future child that's going to be here in August, or my wife who's going to need me during that time, and needs me now and needs me every day. That's why we marry each other, because we love each other. We love being together. If I'm not focused on that, if that's not the reason I'm doing this job in the first place, to make this money so I can spend time with my wife and go take her on a trip, or give to someone that we love, or give to a charity that we're both passionate about, if that's not where my life is going, what's the point of all the work I'm doing? So for me, what I'm working towards in this year in 2021 is when 6 o'clock comes, I want my phone just upstairs in a different room, out of sight, out of mind, so that my wife can have the time and attention she deserves. And obviously, there's going to be days where a deal has to be negotiated, and there's some sort of tense situation that needs to be handled right then. But most things I've found in life can wait until the morning. There's no banks that are lending at 8 p.m. Okay, there's no title companies that are doing your title work at 10 p.m. when you're when
Yeah.
you're wanting to be in bed and watching a movie or whatever. That it can wait. Just realize that it can wait, and that your life is more than just a deal. Your life is more than just to live, make money, and die. You know what I mean? That's not why you got into real estate, I'm sure. It's not why I got into real estate, certainly. So just everyone's got to figure out where their own boundary is, but I encourage you to find that boundary, especially if you're in a relationship or you're married. Talk with your significant other and see what they need from you. Like when I actually had that conversation with my wife, that was kind of how I came up with that 6 p.m. cutoff. Was she was like, "Hey, you're home, but you're not with me because you're checking texts and emails, and oh, there's a phone call, and I'm okay with you working, but I need you here when you're here, and I need work to be work." So for me, that's what I found works best, is just to have that hard stop. But I think everyone's got to make their judgment call.
Absolutely. Caleb, thank you for sharing that. Like you said, it's at the end of the day, it's about finding what our own why is. And it's whatever that is what's going to drive us, right? And if our why is our family, or it's our spouse, our children, if it's money, right? If it's, world domination, whatever, right? Whatever your why is, if you know your why. And I heard this great saying, and I can't remember where I heard it, but I love it. It says, a strong why will get you through any how. And I really like that. Because we got, Caleb, you know this, right? We've got, I don't know, 100 decisions, it feels like, every single day, right? But if you have a strong why, it's going to get you through any one of those hows. Caleb, is there anything I missed today? I think this was a great introduction to the topic. I wouldn't mind, doing this again sometime and maybe even going through a deeper dive. But is there anything else you want to share with all of our agentpreneurs out there before we wrap for today?
Two quick things. Number one, what you just touched on, start with your why. That's what Wes Madden had me do. And that's what he learned, honestly, from reading books by Simon Sinek and a lot of other prolific business leaders. If you don't have your why, you don't have much at all. So figure out your why. And even if your why is just, well, I like making money because I like to take my wife to Europe, and I like to buy nice things because they make me happy. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that as a why. Some people's why is I love real estate and I love my clients. I love serving people. And this really fulfills me to help this family who's in the military find their home. That's an amazing why too, but find your why. That's huge because all of this doesn't matter without a why. And then number two, what is a contact? Because we're talking about contacts per week. Track your contacts, your listing appointments, and your buyer appointments. Those are the three key performance indicators you need to be looking out for. And there's more to that. I'd love to go into a deep dive with you, like you said. But what is a contact? How do I track a contact? That sounds great, Caleb, but I don't know what you're talking about. A contact is anything that can lead to a sale now or in the future, right? It's a conversation. It's a two-way conversation. Let me preface that with two-way conversation. So if you text a client, hey, there's this great new house that just came on the market, and they don't text you back, that's not a contact. If you leave them a voicemail and they don't call you back, that's not a contact. If they shoot you an email and say, I'd really like to see this property we just found online, and you say, great, I'll meet you at 3 p.m., that's a contact, and it's a buyer appointment, all right? If you call them and they say, hey, how's life? How's the kids? How's the wife? Do you need any help with that property you bought last summer? And they say, no, I'm good, but thanks so much for checking in. That's a contact. Because guess what? They might want to sell that property in the future, or just by staying top of mind with that client, they might refer you to a friend of theirs, because on average, every person knows 5 people that are going to buy or sell a home this year. So your past clients alone have what you need in your database to meet your goals, just through connecting to their spheres. So stay on top of your past clients. Those are every bit as valid as a hot lead that wants to buy tomorrow, because you never know when that past client's going to become a hot lead.
That's well said. I feel like we just put the spotlight on you. You got up on the podium there, and you're just preaching right there. That was awesome. That was a great finish, Caleb. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget, right? Is that those contacts, those people, at any moment, they could have a life event that triggers them to want to buy or to sell or to whatever. And you have to be present and top of mind at that moment. So, Caleb, this was awesome. We're definitely doing this again, so I'm going to obligate you to that. I hope you want to, because we're going to do this again. Okay?
Absolutely. There's a ton more details and statistics and nuggets that I would love to share. So I would love that.
Fantastic. All right, Caleb. Why don't you say goodbye for now to all of our agentpreneurs out there?
Well, hey, to all the agentpreneurs that are watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate you listening. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact me. My Instagram should be in the links below. If you want to find me, it's Caleb_Spears Group. And just feel free to shoot me a DM on there, and I'd be glad to help you.
Awesome. All right, Caleb. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you.
All right. There you have it. Really great topic, right? We're talking about KPIs and data tracking and finding your why. And, again, man, look, every top agent out there just shares this stuff, right? No agenda. He's just being a good guy, and he's just sharing his learnings, right? In the hopes that others like you can be successful in the same way that he was in terms of growing his business by being more data-minded, using a data-driven approach. It isn't as scary as it seems. I hope that this was a bit disarming. And the reality is that it gives you confidence. Like, that's the beauty of it. It gives you certainty where today you probably have a lot of uncertainty. Really good stuff. All right, that's it for today. Again, I'm a terrible YouTuber. If you're still here, please subscribe to this channel. I'm so bad at this. Click that little bell so you're notified of all future episodes. And that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Be safe, be healthy, be happy.